It's Wednesday, the 23rd of March, 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, we have 5 stories to get through and now less than 5 minutes to do it, so let's get stuck into it. Story number 1 really is all about the local equity market, and in particular, the market leader, BHP, jumped 5% yesterday, which is a pretty remarkable one-day rise, especially when you consider how big BHP is.
Yeah, and especially when you consider there was no specific news from the big Australian yesterday. At $48.81 a share, it's not that far off its highs of last year. What's going on? Well, iron ore prices are rising, and so too oil prices. Brent crude is heading back to $120 a barrel. Bad news at the petrol pump. Good news for BHP shareholders. Of course, BHP digs up iron ore as well, extracts oil. Copper prices, another major BH commodity, are also high too. That's helping BHP. The other miners did well though too, and they have done in the last few sessions. Rio Tinto was up 3% yesterday. Fortescue was 1.3% higher. The gold diggers did well. That's Newcrest and Northern Star Resources. The oil and gas groups did well. Woodside and Santos. Lithium group Pilbara Minerals jumped nearly 5%. Diversified Miner South32 did really well. Even the companies that do work for the miners, like Mineral Resources, have done really well. All in all, the S&P ASX 200 finished up nearly 1% yesterday to 7,341 points. Michael, that's a 2-month high, and it's only 4% off its peak of August last year. The market is looking pretty good.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, story number 2, Sean. We seem to be talking pretty much every day about the Star Group and the goings-on there, and it's little wonder why, because it's pretty extraordinary. The chief executive officer of the Star Group is now under fire over comments he allegedly made about a report into the casino group's failure to tackle money laundering.
Yes, the New South Wales inquiry has heard that the CEO, Matt Beckier, labelled the KPMG report, which was critical of the Star, as unacceptable and wrong in an audit committee meeting. He said there were multiple errors and KPMG didn't know what they were doing. The group's former chief risk officer, Paul McWilliams, said he agreed with KPMG's analysis, though the severity of the findings were worse than he expected. Now, the author of the report also testified that Mr. Beckier was hostile towards him. The inquiry, of course, is considering whether the Star is fit to hold a gaming licence, and last week heard that the company disguised as hotel expenses about $900 million in transactions linked to Chinese high rollers. It doesn't look great for the Star.
No, it does not. Story number 3, Sean, the COVID case numbers around the country are surging at the moment, and some figures released yesterday by an epidemiologist from South Australia, who's a COVID expert. The figures show that 99% of COVID cases now are the Omicron variant.
Yeah, 60% of the infections are the latest variant of Omicron, BA.2, while 39% are the original Omicron variant, 1% is the rest, including Delta. The virus is pretty much taking the course that experts predicted. Much more infectious now, but much less harmful. There are still plenty of new cases each day. Queensland yesterday, for example, was at 9,000. That's up 15% over the past week. New South Wales was at 21,000. Victoria just under 10,000. South Australia is heading towards 4,000 and expects that to double over the next fortnight or so. Certainly a surge in cases, but at least it's the variant which is the least harmful.
All right, story number 4, Sean. No one seems to like coal miners much at the moment, but they sure are making record profits.
Yes, New Hope in particular, yesterday said its profit jumped to an 11-year high of $330 million. How's that compared to the year before? Well, it lost $55 million a year ago. So while many market watchers don't like coal companies for environmental reasons, they're just throwing out cash at the moment. Thermal coal prices hit records late last year, hence a massive profit for New Hope in the year ended 31 January, but prices are up since then. Quite incredible. New Hope's now in a position where it has no debt. It's got about $500 million sitting in the bank, and it's got about a $400 million overdraft. So maybe it will pivot to renewables. Well, in short, no. Boss Rob Bishop said he was bullish on coal and will expand in thermal and metallurgical coal given the opportunity. Renewables aren't off the table, but they have to provide an adequate return. He's just doing what shareholders want. It's a really interesting dynamic that we need to get to renewables, no doubt about it, but we need coal, and investing in coal is giving you a great return at the moment.
Story number 5, Sean, something a little bit unusual. I want you to tell me what these two things have in common. Legendary investor, 91-year-old Warren Buffett, and Nerf guns.
He likes playing with them? No, he likes owning them, actually. In fact, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway will pay nearly $12 billion to buy an insurance-based conglomerate that owns everything from machine tools and truck bodies to funeral products and toys, including Michael Nerf guns. It's Berkshire's first major takeover in 6 years, its 5th biggest acquisition ever, and really it's solving a problem that it has. It's got about $150 billion in cash sitting on its balance sheet that it's trying to deploy. It just can't find any bargains. Anyway, Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway are back in favour. Its share price hit an all-time high 24 hours ago and is up 40% over the past 12 months.
All right, that's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Wednesday, the 23rd of March, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, if you want something with a bit more detail, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform, as well as a few interviews and other bits and pieces as well. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.